Hey guys, this is Michael from The Black Box, and we're talking about The Shining. The Shining is known as a horror icon in pop culture. It had a mediocre box office release and mixed reviews. It didn't become an icon until 20 years later. Is this deserved? Or is it the creation of the kids who watched the film, scared them as a child, and then once they were older, they voiced their opinions about it on media that they now controlled? Let's talk about The Shining. Is it as scary as pop culture wants us to believe? Stanley Kubrick was a stickler for perfection. Even the infamous elevator scene with the blood pouring out was shot over 100 times until Kubrick was satisfied with the results. He also would make Shelley Duvall frustrated until she was crying on camera while doing her lines, which made her portrayal much more effective.
Yes!
Kubrick would go behind the scenes and move chairs and cans for subliminal effects. He used Danny and his bike to simulate a heartbeat by rolling over the rugs every now and then, putting the audience on the edge of their seat. He also used the color red and shot through mirrors, and the list goes on. The movie is a slow progression into madness. Is that so? Shown early on in the film, Jack, through Kubrick-hidden Easter eggs, allegedly abused his son prior to this point. You can see Jack thumbing through a Playgirl magazine, and the way he stares at his son in this shot. The atmosphere around Danny and his father has a tension to it that you can cut with a knife. There's more evidence on this. If you want an entire breakdown, there's several documentaries on this. So noting this Easter egg, we can argue that Jack was already insane to begin with. Now, looking at things in that light, the pacing and progression of the movie is broken. You're watching a disturbed man doing disturbed things for 2 hours until he ultimately attacks his family in the last 24 minutes of the film. Yes, the movie is 144 minutes long, 146 minutes long in its premiere, and 142 minutes long in the UK version.
I've never been this happy or comfortable anywhere.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast you get used to such a big place.
In my opinion, if Kubrick took a fun-loving family with almost no flaws and tore them down to that point, it would have been a more interesting spiral downward. Yet, those who don't see the background Easter eggs that Kubrick put throughout the film, this is what you get: a nice family that delves into insanity. Let's talk about the scares. People argue that this is more of a psychological horror that sticks with you. I disagree. Psychological horrors don't scare you at the initial moment, but have you turning your head and looking over your shoulder for days to come. In my opinion, this film does not have the elements that frighten you when you're away from the screening. Here's a list of the big scares of the film. Blood from the elevator in slow motion. Twin ghost girls with a quick flash of bloody murder scene. A naked beauty that turns into a naked old woman. Guy dressed in a bear costume giving fellatio to another man. What about when Jack is attacking? That part of the horror is where it stops being scary and it turns into survival adventure. It doesn't count. So we have two scenes that could stick with us upon leaving the screening. The bloody axe twins and the naked nappy old woman. Well, I'm not afraid of the older woman, so let's say the quick, gruesome sight of the axed girls on the floor is the scene that'll haunt you. But is that one moment enough to call this a psychological horror? I don't feel the scare payoffs are as abundant for a 144-minute running time as is presented.
You went into the room Danny said? To 237?
Yes, I did.
And you didn't see anything at all?
Absolutely nothing.
In conclusion, if you happen not to fall asleep, this film will keep you on the edge of your seat with its well-crafted, subliminal tension-making techniques. Does it deserve the praise of being the scariest film of all time? That, I believe, is generation-based. The film deserves to be recognized and viewed, but it will fade to just a mere picture or meme, as did the film Psycho.
Certainly got plenty of that. That's right.
Thank you for listening. If there's something I missed, please tell me in the comments. Share, like, and subscribe. If you want more content, please check out Battle of the Worst.